The studio lights were bright, the audience settling into their seats, cameras perfectly positioned. It seemed like any other day on the Dr. Phil show, until a woman pulled a white envelope from her purse. Dr. Phil, a man who had seen it all and rarely lost composure, froze. His hand halted mid-gesture, his face pale. Whatever was inside that envelope could shake a family's foundation in seconds. What happened next was unpredictable for everyone in the studio or watching at home. 3 hours earlier, Sarah Mitchell, 42, had entered the green room with her mother, Margaret, 68. They had been invited to discuss family secrets that strain relationships, a standard theme for the show. Producers expected a routine episode about trust issues between mother and daughter. They had no idea what Sarah was carrying in her bag. "Mom has lied to me my entire life," Sarah told the pre-show producer. "And I finally have proof." Margaret sat beside her, confident, even smug. She believed she could handle any accusation her daughter made. After 4 decades of spinning stories, one more day of denial seemed trivial. But Sarah had brought evidence this time, science. The show began as usual. Dr. Phil entered to thunderous applause, greeting the audience with his usual directness before introducing the case. "Today we're discussing a mother and daughter whose relationship has been broken by long-held secrets. Sarah claims her mother lied to her for 40 years about something fundamental. Margaret says her daughter is paranoid and ungrateful." They sat on the iconic brown leather chairs. Dr. Phil leaned forward, serious but measured. "Sarah, tell me what's happening," he said. Sarah's voice trembled. "Dr. Phil, all my life I was told John Mitchell was my father. He died when I was 5, car accident. I barely remember him. Recently, I found letters in my mother's attic from a man named Robert Chin. Love letters, dated the year before I was born." Margaret shifted uneasily. "Those letters mean nothing. Robert was just a friend." "A friend?" Sarah's voice rose. "Mom, these letters talk about your affair, about how you loved him, about planning to leave Dad." The audience murmured. Dr. Phil raised his hand, calling for silence. "Margaret, what do you say to that?" Margaret's voice was steady, media-trained. "It was a difficult time in my marriage. Yes, I had a friendship with Robert that became inappropriate. But I ended it. I chose my family. I chose John." Dr. Phil paused, sensing something deeper. He looked at Sarah. "There's more to this, isn't there?" Sarah reached into her purse and pulled out the white envelope. The room shifted. "Dr. Phil, 3 months ago, I took a DNA test, one of those ancestry kits. The results showed I have 50% East Asian ancestry. My father, John Mitchell, was Irish-American, pale skin, red hair. My mother is Swedish, blonde, blue eyes." Gasps filled the studio. Dr. Phil's curiosity turned to intense focus. "I contacted the testing company," Sarah continued, tears streaming. "They confirmed it was accurate. I tracked down Robert Chin. He's alive, 71, in San Francisco. And I reached out to him. He agreed to a paternity test, and I have the results here." She held up the envelope. Dr. Phil stared. For the first time in 21 seasons, he looked genuinely shaken. This was no longer entertainment. A woman's identity hung in the balance. "Stop the tape," Dr. Phil said quietly. Cameras kept rolling, but production froze. He walked to Sarah, kneeling beside her chair to meet her eyes. "Are you sure you want to open that envelope here, in front of millions?" he asked. Sarah nodded, crying. "I need to know, Dr. Phil, and I need her to stop lying." She gestured to Margaret. Margaret's confident facade crumbled, tears streaming down her face. "Margaret, I need to ask directly. Was John Mitchell Sarah's biological father?" The silence stretched. The audience was so quiet you could hear the hum of studio lights. "No," Margaret whispered. "No, he's not." Off camera, Dr. Phil made a bold decision. "Stop everything. Clear the audience. This will be a private conversation." It was a first in the show's history. Cameras continued, but only Dr. Phil, Sarah, Margaret, and a skeleton crew remained. He brought 3 bottles of water and sat down. "Margaret," he said firmly but gently, "no more lies. No more secrets. Your daughter deserves the truth." Margaret sobbed. "I was so ashamed. John was a good man. He loved me, and I betrayed him. When I found out I was pregnant, I prayed every day that the baby would look like him. When Sarah was born, Margaret looked at her daughter and thought, you had his eyes. Or at least, she convinced herself she did. Her skin was a little darker, but Margaret told everyone it came from her Italian grandmother. Did Dad know? Sarah asked quietly. Margaret shook her head. I don't think so. I never told him, and I lied to Robert too. I told him I'd ended the pregnancy. I lied to everyone. Dr. Phil picked up the envelope Sarah had placed on the armrest. Sarah, do you still want to know? He asked. Yes, she replied. He opened the envelope carefully, pulling out the paper and reading silently. His jaw tightened. Then he looked at Sarah. The DNA test shows a 99.97% probability that Robert Chin is your biological father. The room was still. No one screamed or collapsed. Sarah simply looked at her mother and said softly, Why didn't you just tell me? Margaret reached for her daughter's hand. Because I was terrified. Terrified you'd hate me. Terrified I'd lose you. You were all I had left after John died. You didn't lose me because of the affair, Sarah said, pulling her hand away. You're losing me because you lied. For 40 years, I asked 100 times why I looked so different from our family. You made me feel crazy. Dr. Phil leaned forward. Sarah, you need to understand something. What your mother did, lying, gaslighting, that was wrong. But this kind of secret grows like a cancer. The longer it's hidden, the harder it becomes to tell the truth. He turned to Margaret. And you need to understand that your shame doesn't give you the right to take your daughter's identity. She had the right to know who her father is. You took that from her. Margaret nodded, unable to speak through her tears. Then Dr. Phil reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. But it wasn't his card. It was for a family therapist specializing in adoption trauma and identity issues. Sarah, take this, he said, handing her the card. Dr. Jennifer Hartley is one of the best in the country at helping people navigate exactly what you're going through. I'll call her personally to make sure she has an opening for you. He handed Margaret a second card. This is for you, a therapist who works with parents dealing with guilt and shame. Margaret, if you don't address why you lied, you won't be able to rebuild this relationship. He looked at both of them. This family is broken right now, but broken doesn't mean destroyed. You have a choice. Let this secret finish what it started, or commit to honesty and healing. Sarah looked at the card, then at her mother. I want to meet him, my biological father, Robert, she said. And I want you there, Mom. You owe him the truth. He spent 42 years thinking I was never born. Dr. Phil stood. I'll help facilitate that meeting with proper counseling support in a safe, structured environment. Both women nodded. The cameras stopped rolling, but the story wasn't over. 3 weeks later, the show aired a follow-up segment. Sarah had met Robert Chin. The reunion was emotional. Robert cried seeing his features reflected in her face. He brought photo albums from Taiwan, giving Sarah a glimpse of her heritage. Margaret apologized to Robert, admitting the truth. He forgave her, not because her actions were justified, but because holding on to anger would prevent him from knowing his daughter. Sarah and Margaret began therapy together. Their relationship was fragile but rebuilding, this time with honesty. Dr. Phil addressed the camera in the follow-up. After 21 seasons, I'm still surprised by the strength people show when they face the truth. Sarah could have let this destroy her. Instead, she's building a relationship with her biological father while trying to heal her relationship with her mother. That takes courage. He held up a small bracelet Sarah had given him, belonging to John Mitchell. John loved her completely. And now she knows Robert Chin is a good man who never got the chance to love her. She doesn't have to choose between them. She can honor both. He looked directly into the camera. If you're keeping a secret that affects someone else's life, especially a child's, understand this. The truth will come out. DNA tests, medical records, ancestry websites. Secrets are harder to hide than ever. And when they emerge unexpectedly, the damage is worse than if you'd told the truth from the start. Do the right thing. Have the hard conversation. Yes, it's painful. Yes, there may be anger. But lies destroy relationships. Truth gives them a chance to heal. He paused. To anyone watching who's just discovered a truth shaking your foundation, you'll be okay. It may not feel like it now, but you are stronger than you realize. Reach out for help. Talk to a therapist. Allow yourself to grieve and feel anger, but don't let it define you. Your identity isn't just DNA, it's who you choose to become. The episode became one of the most watched in show history. Mental health organizations reported a 300% increase in calls about family secrets and identity issues. Ancestry companies added resources for people coping with unexpected results. Therapists nationwide reported clients seeking help after seeing Sarah's story. 6 months later, Sarah posted a photo of herself with Margaret and Robert, all three smiling cautiously but genuinely. The caption read, "Family is complicated. Truth is hard, but both are worth fighting for." Dr. Phil framed the white envelope in his office, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful moments aren't planned. They're moments when you stop being a host and show up as a human, acknowledging someone's pain and saying, "I see you. I believe you. I'll help you carry this." Years later, he continued to receive thousands of letters from viewers inspired to have their own difficult conversations. Adult children discovering their origins, parents sharing adoption truths, families fractured by secrets choosing honesty. One letter from a 67-year-old man stood out. After keeping a secret for 45 years, he told his son the truth about his biological father. "It was the hardest thing I've ever done," he wrote. "But you showed me that compassion and honesty can coexist. Thank you for giving me courage." Dr. Phil kept that letter alongside the envelope, a reminder that television, when done right, isn't just entertainment. It's a mirror that allows people to see their lives clearly and a catalyst that gives them permission to change.